This is a video about our fun free flight day that turned into a search and recovery effort. It's also a video about an extraordinary bird named Breeze and how she's helped us recover many birds over the years. Good birds! Woohoo!
Yep, my four fly like that too. Oh shit, my bad.
Good birds! This particular day we were in Southern California with a group of friends and their birds. I think in total there were 9 or 10 birds flying. Most of them were macaws. The weather was warm, the winds moderate to gusty. All in all, a beautiful day.
There you go. Get in there, Vegas.
She's flocking right with Josh. Yeah.
Good bird.
Wow.
Good girl.
She looks great.
Stay close! Free fly meetups are always a good time. Good friends, great birds, and beautiful scenery. Good bird!
Good girl.
Just keep going.
This is our own flock, the Baker flock. That's Breeze, MacGyver, Tango, and Jazz.
You're really doing good today, sweetie. They're gonna go down.
Yeah, it's a fun place to fly.
Especially once you get a little wind going uphill here, it's just like, you know, they can go forever.
I love their contact calls too.
Yeah, that is one thing we taught early on. And that's why I'm always calling to them. Good birds! Woohoo! Nice flying, guys.
You're gonna get some extra sugar today, Vegas. Some extra fruit. Okay?
Hey, Tango.
He's going after the raven.
Yeah, he does. He'll chase the ravens off. He's a territorial guy.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And hot now.
Good boy! Good boy, Tango. Tango the guard bird. Woo! Nice wind! Hi, buddy. Good boy, Mackie. Lot of flying. Good bird! Woohoo, Breezy!
It's like perfect right now.
Yeah, I wonder if we should go pull our awning down. Good girl, Breezy. Good girl. Where'd she go? She must have landed on the other side. This is about the point where you can see Rose separating from the flock of macaws, and you'll start to hear her owner calling for her. It's a little hard to tell from the video because I have zoomed in on the birds, but they are quite a ways up. If you listen in the background, you'll hear the owner of Rose calling to her. She is headed over the mountain at this point in time because the ravens are chasing her.
Rose!
She's all right.
She's all the way out there.
I mistakenly thought she was still with the macaws.
Come on, Rose!
She's coming. She's turning. She's making the turn.
She's down there.
Oh, is she? I thought it was her here.
Oh, she's way back on the hill.
It's super important for each owner to watch their own bird and pay attention to where they are at all times, especially in large groups. Keep your eyes on her.
Sven, grab my binoculars, please.
Watch her, watch her, watch her. You don't want to lose sight.
Sven, grab my binoculars. Sven!
Binoculars! We don't want to lose sight of her. Mine are on the table. At this point, I continue to watch and monitor my birds. The galley is fixed on Rosie and keeping an eye on where she's going. Meantime, I need to wait for my birds to come down before I can do anything to help with Rosie's recovery. Are there roads or trails that we can take the Jeep over?
Nope, I'm going hiking.
All right. I've got a two-way radio. Do you have any?
No, I've got something.
This is Rose, and this is the poster that was created to help recover Rose. These were posted all over the area. Hey, it's Marianne, Parrot Free Flight Training. Sitting on a rock over a beautiful valley. It's not exactly a relaxing afternoon, as we are in another recovery mode, searching for another wayward bird. This particular time, our situation is that we are very much in a level 5 area, and recovery is difficult at best. As you look out here, you can see the terrain, hills, rocks. It's a very rural setting. There are some homes, but not very many of them. The hill in the distance there, on the other side of that hill, was the takeoff point. And this well-flighted bird, well-trained, well-flighted bird, and skilled bird was basically up in high altitude with a bunch of macaws, and this is a African gray, but like I say, a very well-flighted African gray. The bird took off with the macaws, flew with the macaws for quite some time. It was probably 15 minutes into their flight that, at I'm guessing about a 450 feet elevation from our takeoff point, that the bird went separate from where the macaws were flying and was harried away by a group of ravens. The ravens, we could watch as they harried her up and over that hill, and looked like they came over to this side of the mountain. So we are now in day 2. I mean, this fly-off happened last night. It's now about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have been out calling, sending birds out. We have people in strategic locations because, again, that terrain is pretty difficult to navigate. We have posters out, and that's why I wanted to just take a moment to talk about being prepared every time you fly. It has always been my philosophy that I expect I could lose a bird every time I let it off my hand. So I always want to be prepared for that, if that should happen. So I always carry with me a backpack. My birds have GPS tracking on them, and I am mindful to pay attention of where they are. Additionally, they're strong, and so well-flighted birds, strong birds. That does not prevent a fly-off, however. It still can happen. So if and when that should happen, you always want to make sure that you watch the birds as far as you can see them before they disappear from your sight, and mark that moment, mark that point, because likely the last place that you saw the bird is where you'll find them, or fairly close to that area. If not, at least you'll have an idea of the direction to be looking. The next thing to keep in mind is that you want to be prepared. So show up wherever you're going, able to hike or climb that area. This particular area is very rugged, so hiking shoes, hiking boots, long pants, hat protection, eye protection, sunscreen, long sleeves. It's pretty hot out here, likely about 100 degrees today. So carrying extra water, and then also you need to keep in mind, what are you going to do for communication? So our cell phones don't work out here. We keep with us a radio. We use GMRS radios because they have a longer distance than a regular handheld radio would have. Even that failed us today. So we have not had good radio contact. We've had almost absolutely no cell service. So we are out of contact with the rest of the group that are searching for this bird. So you have to really plan for as much as you could plan for, and then just keep in mind, things can change, things can go wrong, and so you must adapt. In this case, we probably have 7 or 8 people that are out on this search, and people in strategic places. One left at the actual fly-off location, others in directions of where the bird was last seen going, and then further out some other stationed at some other places. The other thing is that the posters are already going up. We have contacted all of the neighbors, and there's not a lot of neighbors in this community, but we were still able to reach out, connect with somebody, and get the word out through the neighborhood watch that there is this bird missing. Part of our problem today, you might look up this road, I don't think you can see it. Anyway, up this dirt road, it's a private road, and at the end of the road is a no trespassing sign, and we cannot go through that gate without permission. We have a neighbor on the ground who's working with the owner, or trying to contact the owner to give us that permission so that we can go into this area, and we will be hiking that in about 2.5 hours. The nice thing for us is that it is just before sunset, so that's going to give us about an hour to an hour and a half of time to search in that area, which I think is the most likely area that that bird will be. So just a couple of things in mind. Follow the protocols. I have written an article on the protocols and what you need to do whenever you lose a bird. However, it changes depending on the location that you're in. So in a rugged location like this, your social media is not probably going to help very much. What few neighbors there are, you contact. If you're in an area that's densely populated, it's a completely different recovery than when you are out in a rugged terrain area. Rose! Rosita! Can you go find her? Can you go find her, Breeze? Where is she? Come on, bird! Good girl, Good girl, Breezy. Rose! Good girl, Breeze. Rose! We're bringing in a view here of our GPS. This is Marshall GPS tracking system that we use. The tracking is on Breeze, and it'll show where she is. And it gives us great data and information, especially in a situation like this where we're trying to recover another bird. Good girl, Breeze, you call. Good girl. Getting Breeze to actually call out is helpful because if the other bird is in the area and can hear that, they likely will feel more confident coming out if they're hidden in a bush or someplace else, and we might get a call back from the other bird. Go find her! You see her on GPS? She's out of sight. Okay. Rose! Rosie! She coming back?
No, not yet. She's
Still out? She's circling an area?
just heading this back now.
She's just coming back, okay.
No, she's heading a little bit.
Rosie! Come on, Rose! Still going away?
Yeah.
She's going down over those houses then.
She's actually up this way now.
Oh, over here. She came all the way full circle.
Yeah. She's almost like where we were before.
Oh, up over on the area over by the pond. I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't where that bird is. Is she circling up there?
Yeah. She just made a circle. Now she's heading back to kind of. She's up this way.
Rose!
Until you see her soon here.
Yeah. Rosie! I hear Breeze. Good girl, Breeze! You call her! There she is. She's pretty high. Kind of a speck in the sky. Good girl, Breeze! Good girl! Did you see her? If she circles over us and goes back, I'm going to climb up there. Another recovery missions that we've been on with Breeze, she actually has circled over the missing bird several times, even though the bird wouldn't call back, which is why whenever I see her doing that kind of behavior, I want to follow up and just check and see if there's something there. Good girl, Breeze! She's circled and going back. No, she's just up. Rose! Rose! Come on, bird! That bird is one heck of a flyer. This is amazing. That speck in the sky that you're starting to see is breeze coming down. Good girl, honey. Good bird. Good girl, sweetheart. This particular afternoon, I think we sent her out about 3 times where she did these major flights. Good girl! Yep, right under that mountain area. Good girl. Good girl! Rose! Rose! Get her and bring her back, honey. Do you see her on the GPS? She straight ahead of us, or? Good girl, Breezy! Find that baby! You know, you'll never know what's really going on inside a bird's head, but I certainly feel like she gets that this is what we're about, that she's out there searching and looking and trying to help us find the bird. It's like she really does know what she's doing. Good girl! Right along the top of that mountain line. Rose! Rose! Yeah. She's looking. She knows. Yeah. Well, if she could find that bird, she'll get it in the air. Part of the reason why I believe that she really does know what's going on and that this is a search effort is when we fly casually, this is not the way that she flies. I mean, she'll fly and be gone and come back, but flying solo like this is not something that she would be up this long and circling the way that she is. Rose! Good girl, honey. Good flying. Good noise. Good girl. Rose! Rose! Good girl, Breezy. Back over to that pond area. Get a hold of Nicole on the radio and ask her to contact Jim again and see if we can get permission to go over there. Heather. Sorry. Use the radio and see if she'll pick up. you, girl?
She's out this way by the.
That's where I heard it, so.
She's still moving. But
Yeah, she's flying. Rose! Rose! Rosita! It's important when you're calling out looking for birds that are lost. When you call out their name, use the name that the owners have used for them. In this case, Rose, Rosie, and Rosita are all terms that the owner uses in calling her. Also a woof whistle. Then the other point is to stop and listen after you call, just in case the bird calls back. Oh, just on the other side of that hill?
yeah. Should be coming into view here.
Rose!
Should be a slight.
Oh, she's over here, over the pond area again.
Is she?
Yeah, I think so. It's where I hear her. I don't see her yet.
Doesn't actually be that far, but maybe. She should be coming real close to us now. She's just right here.
Where? Oh, she's right above us. Hi, bees. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl, Breeze. Where's the baby? Where's Rose? Coming down, good girl. Good flying, honey. Good girl. Checking in. Where's that bird, huh? That wind was maybe a little strong coming in. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Good girl, Breeze. Where is she? Good girl. Rose! Rose! Come on, Rose! One thing that would likely help very much in a situation like this would be if we had a drone. And the drone is not here yet, but apparently will be here either later today or tomorrow. So having a drone when you're free flying in a rugged terrain is probably one of those things I would suggest you add to your toolkit. The other thing that I would suggest that you always have on hand is create some business cards so that, like for us right now, I was able to reach in my pocket, pull out a business card that says, these are my birds, this is what we do, and if you see anybody, please call me or contact me or text me. So I always have those made and ready. It's a twofold thing. Sometimes you just want people to be able to find you on social media just for fun. But when it comes to a recovery, having those things in advance, now we don't have to really run out and get posters made, although I also always have posters made and ready to go. Every bird that I fly, I have a lost bird poster on, and I've been ridiculed for that over the years because people think, well, you're just planning on losing a bird. No, what I'm doing is being prepared, and being prepared for something as inevitable as a fly off, because we just never know. Things can happen. Our birds are super, super well trained. However, that does not prevent that from being a possibility. And in our case, we just always are prepared for that. If you're starting new in free flight, the first thing I would suggest that you do is, while you're doing your recall training, while you're doing your bonding exercises, while you're doing their contact call exercises and all of those things, put together a backpack. Put together your kit of things that you can just grab at a moment's notice. Have it packed all the time. It should include sunscreen. It should include your cards with your pictures of your birds on it, a lost poster, some tape, some water, a dish for the bird. Oh, by the way, what if you're working with a search group and nobody can handle your bird but you? Maybe it would be a really good idea to have something like some pillowcases. A pillowcase is something everybody can easily carry. It's lightweight and it's not a cumbersome piece of equipment to have with you. But if you happen to be the one to find that bird, you may not be able to wait for the owner to get there. You may need to try to pick that bird up. And if you can get that bird picked up, it might be the kindest thing to put that bird into a pillowcase. It'll cradle them and it'll keep them safe until you can get them back to the owner. So it's also a good idea if you have a fire to always have, pillowcases close at hand. That's just one way you can easily pick up a bird, get them in a situation where they're not going to be harmed. You don't have to worry about toweling them because inside that pillowcase, once they're in there, they'll be settled down pretty quickly. So just pack that bag, be ready to go always. Flashlight, sunscreen, bug repellent, just the basic survival stuff, right? In my bag, I also have a mirror, because if I'm on a mountaintop, and like today, we had no service, we had no cell service, our radios were not working. If I needed to get a hold of somebody, I could be flashing my mirror in the sunlight to get some attention. So again, just small things, but always think about what it is that you might need. One of the people that we have been working with today said, oh yeah, no, I don't have my radio. I always have my radio, but I just didn't bring it because we never need it. And that's the thing. You may never need it, but isn't better to have it and not need it than to need it and not be able to get it? So keep in mind, have that bag ready to go. Do not fly irresponsibly. Train your birds well before you hit the trails or the roads or the beach or the parks. But know that there's always a risk no matter how well your birds are trained. I've known very many wonderful and experienced free flyers, and I can't think of a single one of them that hasn't had the experience of having to recover a bird at some point or another. Okay, everybody, safe flying. Good girl, Breeze. You tracking her?
Yeah.
See, she's back over the pond again.
Yes, she is.
Anything at all on the radio? There's a hawk with the crows.
He just keeps going that direction too.
Yep. Is she still out there?
Yeah. Still heading that way direction.
Oh, so she's out beyond the pond.
Yeah. She's a long ways over there now.
Rose!
Almost like she stopped though, you know? Why did it turn orange? There it goes again.
Still flying?
Yeah.
She's circling that pond area?
No, she's way out there now.
Okay. Want to look at the GPS? It looks like she's starting to swing back now.
Uh-huh.
So my takeaway today is, and what I will suggest is that it is probably less than a great plan to fly small birds with big birds. Their skill levels, just by the dynamic of their ability to fly further and longer because of a larger wingspan, right? So a small bird, even though it might keep up for a time, in a long flight, or in a case like what we saw today, that small bird just couldn't keep up with the macaws, and it was picked off and harried away by the ravens. I would suggest that also you would experience the same thing if you're flying birds that are not skilled or as skilled. Better to fly birds of similar skill levels together for the most part. The stronger, more skilled birds can go further and higher, and they can take those youngsters with them, or those less able birds with them, and those less able birds may not be able to come back. So the takeaway today is, and what I will suggest to you, is in your free flight training that you do not fly large birds and small birds together at the same time. If you're going to fly small birds, fly a flock of small birds. I don't suggest anybody flies solo, because I think it is much more dangerous to fly solo than it is to fly in a group. And additionally, flying birds of different skill levels, it can be beneficial, but you have to be super careful, and that just presents its whole nother level of potentially problematic situations arising. So it's all about trying to negate the risk when we free fly, and I think that if you are not flying small birds with big birds and not flying inexperienced birds with very experienced birds, you'll have a better opportunity or a better chance of not losing a bird. This is Breeze finishing her final flight for that particular afternoon. You can see she kind of crested over the top of the mountain there, which was our point of where we started. Breeze was basically doing what we've always trained her to do, which is to go back to rally point. So in this case, instead of her coming back to us at our scout point, she went back to where our rig was and where our original flight from point was. The good news was that Rose was recovered. She was recovered a few miles away from her fly-off point. She was gone for about a day and a half and was safe, in a good shape. Here you can see the different points where one was our fly-off. The center is where our fly-off happened from. Just off to the right is where our lookout location was. And the third is where Rose was recovered from. Notice the ridge between the fly-off area and the recovery area. That is a very tall mountain, and sometimes what we'll see is when a bird flies off that they're going to follow the topography of the land. And so looks to me, in reviewing and looking back, that that bird flew down that ridge line, and instead of popping over to the side that we were searching on, it stayed on the side where the fly-off area initiated from, or it ran pretty close to the top of that ridge and through the valley to get to the home where it was actually recovered from. I hope you found some value in the information that we shared with you about our experience with this free flight recovery. This is Breeze, our amazing blue and gold macaw. She is an incredibly good flyer, and this is her home, relaxing in the sun after a bath. Just wish you all happy and safe flying out there. So happy?